This is a Fire and Movement issue number 60. And this is, I believe, from 1989, June and July of 1989. And the cover article is close-up analysis, the gamers, Thunder at the Crossroads, the Battle of Gettysburg, 1863. So this is the game that they were talking about. And I also have the second edition of Thunder at the Crossroads. So this is a brigade level Gettysburg. It's 2 maps, 2 full-size maps. It's quite a game. I've played them, and I think it's an awesome experience. So there's an article in here, Thunder at the Crossroads by Phil Adams, Dan Christensen, and Jack Green. It's a 6-part article on this game. So, you got a lot of material in here. It's mostly text, and it's talking about what this game does and how other games do it differently. Like there's a mention of Terrible Swift Sword here, contrasting it with Thunder, and the South Mountain series, Pickett's Charge by Yaquinto, and how this game, handles all these different things. One comment made here is, I think this is from Don Christensen, but if it's not, I apologize. The designers of Thunder at the Crossroads have come close to capturing the flavor of 19th century battlefield operations. I think that's well-deserved praise. Then this article continues. Phil Adams talks about deployment. He makes a comment, a game which cannot reproduce the historical battle with some degree of accuracy is probably useless. So that's involved in his critique. Then there is article part 4 by Jack Green. Pickett's Charge and Thunder at the Crossroads are the only 2 games on Gettysburg that I will play as of 1989. Of course, there have been some other good ones that have come out. So then you have part 5 playtesting by Dean Essig. So that having anything from Dean Essig in writing is worth the price of entry. And he has response to the designer's notes, Dean Essig and Dave Powell. So the excellent material. So I enjoy having this magazine just because of the coverage of Thunder at the Crossroads. There's also, the typical feature section of players' notes. They have some notes on S&T 122 Pegasus Bridge. That's one of the few S&Ts that I don't have a copy of. They have another design notes on the Indian Mutiny from S&T 121. And I have played that game before. I think that was designed by Rob Markham, and it doesn't use hexagons. It has little squares on the map board, but it was an interesting game. And I think Miranda has kind of re-envisioned the Indian Mutiny in maybe the Sepoy Rebellion, which is a much newer game. There's also some coverage on Seventh Fleet, designed by Joe Balkowski from Victory Games, in the players' notes section. So those are all very useful. Then there is a huge article in the RBM forum by Roger McGowan. And this is called Part 1, Born in the Shadows of World War II. And this is the Mediterranean theater. This is a Fire and Movement anthology of the Mediterranean theater. And so it starts out with what's called Chapter 1, the Mediterranean Theater. And this reviews the games up to 1989 anyway, that cover this theater. And it starts out with the strategic games, Africa Corps, Africa Campaign, Bloody Karen, Campaign for North Africa, DAC by Simulations Canada, because this article predates Dean Essig's DAC and DAC 2. And there is a a plethora of games. It zeroes in on the Europa games on the desert, Sicily games, and things like that. There are about 8 or 9 pages at the strategic level. Then he switches gears and they go into the operational games on the Mediterranean theater, from air assault on Crete, invasion of Malta, the Anzio beachhead, Avalanche, Battle for Cassino, Decision at Kasserine. These are all operational games. Patton Goes to War, Rommel at Bay, Drive on Damascus. I'm just naming a few. Probably 5 pages of these games, operational. And then eventually it gets to tactical. So where our anthology is moving into the tactical level of games. So there's only a couple pages of tactical, but that's just remarkable coverage of the older games that you have. I have a few of them that appear in that list, but most of my Mediterranean Theater World War II games are much later than 1989. So anyway, that is what you get in Fire and Movement number 60. Again, for me, it's the priceless material from Dean Essig and Dave Powell that wrote under the Thunder at the Crossroads article. So if you have any comments on any of these games, certainly leave them in the comments below, and I hope you have a great day.